Well, welcome back. And here we are, Lecture 3, and this means we're beginning the second chapter, Chapter 2. And Chapter 2, if you have the book, you will know Chapter 2 is City Life. City Life, we're going to begin with a conversation about finding a place to live. And then in the next session, we go on to Neighborhood Watch Meeting, getting meaning from context, being an apartment building, and the real-world task is similar to last unit, following directions, again, using a map. All right, let's introduce our topic now. I'm going to take the book because it has a nice color picture for us here that we want to discuss in Unit 2. This is our nice color picture here. Color picture of a beautiful scene, but obviously we are in the city. A little bit of glare there, but I think you can make out what that is. All right. Describe the neighborhood you see in the foreground of the photo. Well, I'm sure you see this is part of a big city. Some beautiful houses there in the front, not modern houses. These are traditional houses. In the back, we see the skyscrapers. I think this is San Francisco. You may know it from movies. How is your neighborhood different from this neighborhood? Well, your neighborhood might be fancier, it might be, but I'm sure it's different. It's not the type of architecture we have here. Some of you may be from a busy part of a big city, some of you may be from a very small town, but you can compare this with your own experience. What are some different kinds of places to live? Wow, big question, huh? You can live in an apartment. You can live in a high-rise building. You can live in a large mansion. You can live in a tent. You can live in so many places. And today we're looking at city life. I put this here just because I thought the color would be nice, but it seemed to glare a bit. But that's... All right, so let's go on with our conversation. We'll be doing in a moment. And the name of our conversation, or the title rather, is Finding a Place to Live. The following telephone conversation is about an advertisement for a roommate to share a house. And there we see the advertisement. Roommate wanted to share a 5-bedder, that's bedroom house, near campus. W/ means with 3 working people, furnished room, private bath, kitchen privileges, backyard, $800 per month, util plus util. Util means utilities, electricity and water. Call Nancy at 555-5949. Do you remember Nancy in our first unit, the English teacher? And you'll also remember this lady. This is Mari, the Japanese student. Now, Mari is looking for a place to live, and she sees this advertisement, and we're going to hear her calling Nancy about a place to stay. Now, we have a culture note at the bottom, student housing. A house is a building, but housing is in general. Housing could be a flat, could be any place where you live is housing, so it's more general. And student housing offices are a part of universities. In North America, most universities have housing offices. Students looking for places to live and people who are looking for roommates can advertise in these offices. It's quite common for students to move into a dormitory, house, or apartment with people they have not met before. And you see that roommates and dormitory are blackened, they're bold, in bold type, indicating they are important vocabulary for us. Before we listen, we're going to do a little bit of vocabulary work here. We just saw the picture. We said, where is Mari? Well, she's at the housing office. Why do you think she is there? Well, I bet she's looking for a place to live. Number 2, if Mari calls about the ad, what questions will she probably ask? Well, where is the house? How big is it? How many people? We'll see. She's going to call. We'll look into that later. Number 3, where are you living now? Well, that's a good question. Only you can tell me that. I'm sure you're living in some nice place. It could be a large house, nice apartment, whatever. Do you have roommates? Maybe. How did you find each other? Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I suppose maybe in the newspaper or talking to people, whatever. So, different ways. But let's look at our vocabulary. Number 1. The vocabulary word is slob. Slob. Not a very nice word. It's not, and notice we're going to find out it's a slang word. My roommate Sarah is a real slob. And we chose B, a messy person. But it's a big word in English and not a nice thing to say. And slang is one of the things we're going to have on the forum for this this particular class, this particular chapter. So please notice that word slang. Number 2, lift a finger. Huh? Lift a finger. It means do anything. Huh? Sarah never lifts a finger to clean up after herself. We chose E, to help with work. So if you don't lift a finger, you don't do anything. Huh? You want to talk about someone who doesn't help you, say, he didn't lift a finger. Huh? Didn't do it. Nice, we call these idioms. Huh? A nice little idiom. 3, bug. Again, this is slang usage. It really bugs me that I have to do all the housework myself. And we chose here for bug D, to irritate, annoy, bother, slang. So notice in ordinary language, I would not usually say it bugs me. I'd say it bothers me, it irritates me, it annoys me. But if you want to be using very low language, you can say it bugs me. It bugs me, we have an exam. Okay, number 4, vocabulary. This is a use of make. The word is not special, but the usage. I can't make it. Now, we've chosen here the number F, and you'll see to come or go to something. Now, this depends very much on the context. Do you want to go to dinner? Thanks, but I can't leave the house because my sister is going to come. I'm sorry. Are you going to Nadia's party tonight? No, I can't make it. I can't make it. I can't do it. I can't accomplish it. So this is, again, an idiomatic use of make. I can't make it. I can't appear. I can't attend. Now, I almost confused you there, didn't I? Number 5. Here, come by. Huh? Of course, we all know come, but come by changes the meaning, and we have the conversation. Do you want to go out to dinner? Thanks, but I can't leave the house because my sister is going to come by around 6 o'clock. And it says A, we chose A, meaning to stop somewhere for a short visit. You see that? For a short visit, okay? We go down now to C, another idiom, can't miss. Where is the language lab? Go upstairs. It's the first door on the right. You can't miss it. We chose C, able to see easily. Huh? You can't miss it. So some nice, and notice 2 of them are slang, meaning something we have to talk about later. Now you're going to hear the conversation, and I'd like you to be thinking of answering these questions. These would be the types of things you might have to answer on a homework exercise or on the exam. You listen to a conversation. Who are the speakers? What is the student calling about? Where does the student live now? What is the problem there? Who lives in the house that the student is asking about? How is the neighborhood? At the end of the conversation, what do the speakers agree to do? So now, listen to the conversation and decide what you would answer for these questions. Nancy. Hello. May I speak to Nancy, please? Speaking. Hi, my name is Mari, and I'm calling about the room for rent. I saw your ad at the campus housing office. Nancy. Oh, right. Okay. Are you a student? Mari. Well, right now I'm just studying English, but I'm planning to start college full-time in March. Nancy. I see. Where are you living now? Mari. I've been living in a house with some other students, but I don't like it there. Nancy. Why? What's the problem? Mari. Well, first of all, it's really noisy. And it's not very clean. The other people in the house are real slobs. I mean, they never lift a finger to clean up after themselves. It really bugs me. I need a place that's cleaner and more private. Nancy. Well, it's really quiet here. We're not home very much. Mari. What do you do? Nancy. I teach English at the college. Mari. Wait a minute. Didn't we meet yesterday at the placement exam? Nancy. Oh, you're the girl from Japan. What was your name again? Mari. Right, what a small world. Mari. It really is. By the way, who else lives in the house? The ad said there are 3 people. Nancy. Well, besides me, there's my cousin and a part-time student. Are you okay with having roommates? Mari. Sure, as long as they're clean and not too noisy. Nancy. Don't worry, they're both easy to live with. Mari. Okay, is the neighborhood safe? Nancy. Oh, sure. We haven't had any problems. And you can walk to school from here. Mari. Well, it sounds really nice. When can I come by and see it? Nancy. Can you make it this evening around 5? Mari. Yeah, 5 o'clock is good. What's the address? Nancy. It's 3475 Hayworth Avenue. Do you know where that is? Mari. No, I don't. Nancy. Okay, from University Village, you go 7 blocks east on Olympic Avenue. At the intersection of Olympic and Alfred, there's a stoplight. Turn left and go up 1.5 blocks. Our house is in the middle of the block on the left. Mari. That sounds easy. Nancy. Yeah, you can't miss it. Listen, I've got to go. Someone's at the door. See you this evening. Mari. Okay, see you later. Bye. Nancy. Bye-bye. So, who are the speakers? Well, of course, there are the people we heard from last time. By chance, it's Mari and Nancy. Again, Mari the student and Nancy the teacher. What is the student calling about? She's looking for a place to stay, looking for a room. Where does the student live now? We heard she lives in a house with some friends. What's the problem? We heard it's noise and not clean. People don't clean out. We heard the slob. Slob implies not clean. Number 4, who lives in the house that the student is asking about? Well, we heard Nancy, and she said her cousin and a part-time student. So 3 people. How is the neighborhood? We heard it's safe, and we heard it's close to campus. She can walk to campus. And finally, at the end of the conversation, what do the speakers agree to do? Well, Nancy and Mari agree to meet that evening. So those are things you should be able to understand from listening to a conversation. Now, here is the close solution. We just heard this passage. We just heard this passage, but we just heard this passage. I'm trying to get this paper here. Let's see here. You're going to go back? Okay. All right, here we have the close of this particular item here. I'd be very happy if you had done this. Listen to the passage, listen to the conversation, and you could do this, and you can check it now. Speaking, room, ad, remember ad, AD, short for advertisement. Housing office. I hope you hear the Z in there, house, but housing. Student, English, college, Full-time in March. It's a month, so it has to be capital. Where are you living now? House. Don't like. What's the problem? First. Noisy. Slobs. Never lift a finger. So a lot of our vocabulary, it bugs me. Here's a word we did not discuss, but very important. So the word private, you see there, private. Very important word. Private, not for everybody. I'm sure that Mari wants to have a private place, because then it'll be quiet. Huh? English, wait a minute. Oh, you're the girl from Japan. What a small world. Please notice you can go back and review this. We just did the conversation. You could go back and then review it looking at the close. It would be very good if you did your own exercise and then check it with what we've done here. It really is, by the way, who else? Again, E-L-S-E, who, what other person? 3 people. Notice if you're doing any work in English like this, you don't write the number, you write the word because it's a small number. Cousin, C-O-U-S-I-N. Student, I hope you all know cousin, right? The children of your brother or your sister are they're cousins to each other. In other words, my mother's sister's child is my cousin. Huh? Cousins usually the same age. A part-time student, easy neighborhood. Please notice neighbor. The area you live in is your neighborhood. Mari, of course, wants a quiet neighborhood. Evening, 5, address. Going east, notice here we have the stoplight, turning left, middle, those were directions we'll be practicing in the task. You can't miss it. And evening. So our close, so please check this. This is a nice exercise for you to check on how you're doing. Okay. We now move on. Remember reductions, huh? Language tip at the bottom. Top here, many students of English have difficulty with the phrase, by the way. This is, speakers use this phrase to introduce a new topic in a discussion or conversation. For example, in the conversation you heard, oh, you're the girl from Japan. What was your name again? Mari. Right, what a small world. Really is. By the way, who else? She wants to change the subject. So very often we say, by the way. Huh? Say, nice weather today. By the way. Change the subject, okay? All right, let's go to our reductions now. This is our key task here. You're always being tested on reductions. Remember that language exists as formal speech, where we pronounce each word clearly, but in ordinary speech we get reductions. The language becomes compressed. Comparing reduced and unreduced pronunciation. The following sentences are from the conversation. Listen for the difference between the unreduced and reduced pronunciation. Where are you living now? As opposed to, where are you living now? What do you do? As opposed to, what do you do? 3. You can walk to school from here. You can walk to school. You can walk to school from here. Number 4, when can I come by and see it? Reduced. When can I come by and see it? When can I come by and see it? Number 5, can you make it this evening around 5? Reduced. Can you make it? Can ya? Means can you. Can you make it this evening around 5? 6, do you know where that is? Reduce. Do you know? Do you know where that is? And 5, I've got to go becomes I've gotta. I've gotta go. Okay. Now let's practice our reductions. Let's see if you are able to do them correctly. Listening for our reductions, huh? So here we have Yolanda, and we have our conversation. I did not fill them in here because it would be a nice exercise for you to do. We can check them another time. You hear, hey, Yolanda, where are you going? You heard, where are you? But how many words are missing? 3. Where are you? Where are you? Yolanda replies, I want to get a present for Nancy. Wanna becomes two words, want to. It's her birthday, you know, ya becomes you. Mari, yeah, I know. What do you think I should get her? What do you think becomes what do you think I should? What do you, Waria. Yolanda, well, she likes ice skating. How about some skates? How about becomes how about, You want to give a suggestion? How about becomes how about, Conversation 2. How do you like my new haircut? How do ya? Becomes how do you? How do you like? Mari, it's great. Who's your hairstylist? Nancy, her name's Lucy. Can you give me her phone number? Can you? Becomes can you, Sure, but she's always very busy. You can try calling her. You can, But she might not be able to see ya until next month. To see ya, to becomes to see ya, you, to see ya, to see you. Okay, let's go to the last one, conversation 3. Andrew. Okay. All right, we go to conversation 3. We see Andrew there. And Andrew says, what do you want to do tonight? What do you want to do tonight? Well, how many words is that? What do you want to? What do you wanna? What do you wanna? What do you want to do tonight? Sorry, I guess I moved that. Richard says, nothing special. I gotta stay home. I gotta. Notice I've got to. 2 words missing. To stay home. To correct my student. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. I've got to stay home and correct my students' compositions. Becomes and. These are reduced forms. And reductions were something that we talk about a lot. It's a very important transition for you from spoken language to written language. We now come to reviewing some things we've done already. We heard this in the conversation, opening a conversation. A caller asked to speak to a person. Could I please speak to? May I please speak to? Could I please speak to? Is Mari there? I'd like to speak to Mari. All of these are introductions opening up the idea that you want to speak to someone. Now, if the person that you want is speaking, the usual way is just to say speaking. This means you say, I'd like to speak to, let's say, Mr. Allen. I'd say speaking. It means I am the person you want. That's the formal way. Not wrong to say, this is he, but it sounds very stilted in English. Or, this is Mr. Allen. Both of them sound very formal. The nice thing is to say, speaking. Now, if you want to identify who you are, my name is, okay, or this is, you want to know who this is. Or the caller might give a reason. I'm calling about the car you're selling. I'm calling because your sister gave me your name. Let me tell you why I called. So these are nice phrases used in telephone conversations. Now, closing the conversation, you say, I've got to go. You want to stop. Or, see you later. Bye. Bye. Thanks for the information. It was nice talking to you. Thanks for calling, depending how friendly you want to be. So these are some nice phrases to know about using the telephone. Now, that ends the material, but before we go on, before we close for today, I want to give you a chance to listen to and be acquainted with the passage for this unit. So now at this point, you're not going to look at anything. You're just going to listen now to this presentation. Remember, every unit has a presentation. This is the presentation for Unit 2, and it comes under Neighborhood Watch. What do they mean by neighborhood watch? In a neighborhood, sometimes they have people watching because they want to be careful, so they have on a particular day this person watching, taking care of the neighborhood. And so a police officer has come to a neighborhood to talk to some people. So listen, and we'll be working on this next time. Police officer. Good evening. My name is Officer Jenkins, and I thank you for inviting me here tonight to talk to you. As you know, there have been a number of break-ins in this neighborhood recently, and even though it's true there's been very little violent crime, no one has been injured, especially compared to other parts of the city, I have to tell you that burglary and car theft are both up in this area. Now let me give you some statistics. Okay. You see, a year ago there were, in this area, 48 burglaries. But this year it's gone up to 60 already. The number of car thefts has almost doubled from last year. So that's why I'm coming here, not to scare you, just to give you some suggestions how you can make your homes and automobiles safer. Okay? All right, let's begin. First of all, we'll talk about lights. Be sure you have lights outside your house. If you live in a house, you need to have lights both in the front and the back of your house. And be sure they're on at night. In my opinion, this is the most important thing to prevent burglaries. Now, what about lights inside the house? Well, that's also important. If you live in an apartment building, you may want to have lighting in the general hallway. But it's always good to have lighting also inside your home. And if you're gone, you should put automatic timers so that when a particular time, the lights will go on by themselves. So that way it looks like someone's there even though you're not. So be sure to keep the lights on inside as well. Next, that was about lights. Now we come to another important point, locks. Yes, it is important to have locks. And the first point I want to make is, when you are dealing with locks, don't buy cheap locks. Be sure to buy good, heavy-duty locks. In fact, the best type of lock is the deadbolt. The deadbolt where it goes right into the wood, and this is a very strong lock. I very much advise a deadbolt at least 1 inch, that's 2.5 centimeters thick. Now, we all think of the doors, but don't forget the windows. Windows also need to be locked, and there are special locks for windows. Be sure to do that. Let me just tell you that 50% of burglaries occur because people do not lock their windows or their doors. So always keep your windows and doors locked. Now, you're going to say this is a peaceful neighborhood. That's true. But we want to be safe just in case. So get into the habit of keeping your doors and your windows locked. Now I'd like to move on to something else, and this is keeping your car safe. Car theft is a great problem. The first point may be obvious. Keep your car in the garage. Don't park it on the street unless necessary. Your garage is made for the car. It's not a place to store everything else. And even if you do store it in the garage, a second point, don't leave valuable things in the car, even if it's in the garage. If you have valuables for your car, put them in the trunk where you can lock them. Don't leave them lying on the seat where people can see them. Some people think it doesn't matter for just 5 minutes, but I'd like to tell you, last week we had a report about a fellow who left his laptop on the car seat, and he ran in to buy a cup of coffee. When he came back, it was gone. Yes, he locked the door of the car, but someone broke the window and took the laptop. Don't leave things open to view in your car. Even if it's locked, you're inviting people to break in. Some people think car alarms solve this problem. My belief is that they do not solve it very much. A good thief will be so quick he doesn't mind the alarm. Before anybody really gets there, he'll be gone anyhow. So please use these other points that I mentioned. Now we talked about, let me just review, we talked about lights, talked about locks, we talked about keeping your car safe. Now the last point is something quite different, and this is about your neighbors. You need to work together with your neighbors. So if you go on vacation, ask your neighbors to watch the house. Make sure that they cut the grass, they pick up the papers, so people don't know that the house is empty. Also, please, all of you should report any strange thing. You see a strange vehicle, you see people taking furniture out of a house, you don't know if it's correct. What should you do? Call the police. Don't bother the people. You may get in trouble. Call the police and they'll check out for you. And the last thing is what you are doing, having a neighborhood watch meeting. Get together with your neighbors and set up a schedule for watching each other's houses. And to help this be effective, put the decal in your front window. If a thief sees that you're part of a neighborhood watch, he may just give up and go somewhere else. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about regarding safety. I'd just like to mention one other thing. Many people jump to the conclusion that if things become dangerous, it's good to have guns in your house. I would say no. They're more dangerous than helpful. Of course, they may be useful sometime, but they may also cause a problem. There are many accidents with firearms, so I would advise against that as a tactic. So I wish you all a safe neighborhood. All the best on your neighborhood watch. All right, that is your passage for part 2 of this chapter. And so I bid you adieu. You have plenty to listen to and plenty to review. Thank you very much.